Turkey. This is the voice of Turkey. This is the voice of Turkey. This is the voice of Turkey.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Today is Saturday, 16th day of July 2016. This is the Voice of Turkey's English language transmission, broadcasting from Ankara in the 19-meter band between 1230 and 1330 UTC on 15450 kHz to Europe. You can listen to us over the Turksat 3A and Turksat 4A satellites and on the internet at www.trt.net.tr through the Voice of Turkey link. Our email address is englishdesk@trt.net.tr. Following the news, the Voice of Turkey will present certain feature programs and the news. But first, the headlines. Turkish Prime Minister confirms government in full control of country. 2 Turkish army generals remanded in southern Turkey. Turkish parliament holds extraordinary session. Turkey demands 8 coup soldiers' extradition from Greece. And Turkey's top judicial board suspends 2,745 judges. And now details of the news. In an address to the nation from capital Ankara, Turkish Prime Minister Binali Yıldırım says the failed coup in the country was an attack on the country's democracy. Yıldırım gave the latest figures from the overnight foiled coup. He said in total 161 people were killed throughout the country while 1,440 were injured. In an inspirational display of nationalism, millions of Turkish citizens united throughout the country and ended an attempted coup by a faction of the military. The faction, comprised roughly of 3,000 soldiers, declared martial law in the country last night as they attempted to overthrow the government. But the people had the last say and heeded calls by President Recep Tayyip Erdogan to stop the coup. Yıldırım says he is extremely proud to be a Turkish national, especially after last night's display of exceptional unity. We once again stood together as a nation. We are many ethnicities collected under one flag, but yet we came together under the crescent and star for one purpose, which we successfully fulfilled. He thanked the nation for uniting and said Turkey had showed the world how one country can come together to defeat a common enemy. Turkish Prime Minister Binali Yıldırım says 161 people were killed, almost 1,500 injured and close to 3,000 soldiers arrested after the failed coup. In an address to the nation from capital Ankara, Turkish Prime Minister Binali Yıldırım says the failed coup in the country was an attack on the country's democracy. 2 Turkish army generals remanded in southern Turkey. 83 military personnel of various ranks linked to the FETA PDY terrorist organization, including senior commanders, are also remanded. 2 Turkish army generals linked to Friday's military coup attempt were remanded in the southern Isparta province on Saturday. Major General Metin Akkaya and Isparta garrison commander Major General Mustafa Kurutmaz were remanded in Isparta. Separately, of 182 detained military personnel of various ranks, including the senior commanders, all linked to the FETÖ PDY terrorist organization, 83 were remanded Saturday in the southeastern Diyarbakir province. Arrest warrants were issued for about 77 soldiers, including senior commanders in Diyarbakir. Another arrest warrant was issued for some 22 military judges and prosecutors in relation to the coup. Friday night saw military elements make a vile attempt to overthrow Turkey's elected government, according to Prime Minister Binali Yildirim. Turkish Parliament holds extraordinary session. The Turkish Parliament convened Saturday for an extraordinary session in the aftermath of the attempted Friday night coup. What is necessary will be done, and the perpetrators will be punished in the heaviest manner, Parliament Speaker Ismail Kahraman said in a speech opening the session. He also said that the life went quickly back to normal, and all wounds will be healed soon. Prime Minister Binali Yildirim started his speech by remembering the martyrs who sacrificed their own lives in defense of the nation's independence and future on Friday night. He thanked the public for their support, having taken to the streets to protest the coup attempt. He also praised the deputies who went to Parliament and stayed there amid the old bombing. They started to drop bombs on Parliament. They fired, yet you did not retreat, he said, adding that the MPs thus demonstrated exemplary behavior to parliaments and democracies all around the world. As the public defended its independence on the streets, you, as the representatives of the nation, held on tightly to your independence, democracy, and national will in Parliament. With this attitude, you have changed Turkey's fortune and demonstrated a solidarity, friendship, and cooperation that will be remembered for centuries to come. Thus, this Parliament deserves the greatest praise after our nation, he said. The Premier also declared July 15th a day of democracy. Those who attempted this coup and tried to overthrow the public ended up being the target and were overthrown themselves. From now on, July 15th is a day of guarding and watching over democracy. It is the day of democracy, he said, calling the involved members of the army not soldiers but terrorists and murderers disguised as soldiers. Mayor Opposition Republican People's Party Chairman Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu denounced what he termed an attack on democracy. On behalf of my party and all our supporters who voted for us and the citizens of the Turkish Republic, I curse yesterday's attack on democracy, he said, further praising the public who took to the streets and exercised their right to revolt against the attempted coup. Nationalist Movement Party leader Devlet Bahçeli said what happened on Friday night was not just a coup attempt, but also a treacherous and bloody terrorist attack. This attack was committed by a small group within the Turkish military who was either beguiled or already thirsty for death. Democracy almost fell off a cliff, he said. People's Democratic Party Deputy Chairman Idris Baluken also strongly condemned the anti-democracy attempts and deadly attacks without a but or however. There is no excuse for a coup, whether military, bureaucratic, or civil, he said, adding that the antidote to coup is peace and democracy. Unless peace and democracy is established, there will always be the possibility of a coup, he said. Following the speeches by party leaders, Kahraman read out the joint declaration signed by all four parties represented in the parliament, which praised the body for continuing to work as one under bombs and bullets. Our parliament has responded to the coup attempt as one. Its determination against this attempt is invaluable in terms of further establishing democracy in Turkey, the statement said, tweeting the historic common stance of all political parties in Parliament, which will take its place in history and further strengthen the nation and national will. The Turkish Parliament is back to work as one and will ensure that those who attempted this attack on the nation and its sovereignty are punished in the heaviest manner allowed by law. This declaration is proof that nothing will be the same in Turkey. Even if we may have different views, we all stand by the national will and we always will, it said. The four parties also warned against resorting to violence while protesting the failed coup. On Friday night, renegade elements within Turkey's military attempted to stage a coup against the government. Although the coup was soon put down by the country's legitimate authorities and security apparatus, some 161 people were martyred in the violence, according to Prime Minister Binali Yildirim. The news continues on the English language broadcast of the Voice of Turkey. Turkey demands 8 coup soldiers' extradition from Greece. Turkey on Saturday demanded the extradition of 8 military officers who fled to Greece following the failed coup. Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu tweeted that Turkey had requested the immediate surrender of the 8 traitor soldiers who fled to Greece with a helicopter. Greek police said the helicopter landed at Alexandroupoli Airport, which lies close to the Greek-Turkish border, at around 11:50 a.m. local time. The 8 occupants were arrested and claimed political asylum. In a statement, the Greek General Staff said the Black Hawk helicopter will be returned to Turkey immediately. The responsible authorities for asylum will examine the helicopter passengers' request for political asylum in Greece, the statement added. Turkey's top judicial board suspends 2,745 judges. Turkey's top judicial board has suspended 2,745 judges, including 541 Court of First Instance judges and 2,204 Judicial Court judges over Friday's attempted coup. The Supreme Board of Judges and Prosecutors also decided to terminate the membership of 5 of its members after the Ankara Chief Public Prosecutor's Office's decision to detain them. 4 have been remanded into custody. 48 members of the Council of State linked to the FETÖ-PDY terrorist organization were also remanded into custody, and out of 40 Court of Appeal members detained who were linked to the FETÖ-PDY, 11 were remanded Saturday. Friday night saw military elements make a violent attempt to overthrow Turkey's elected government, according to Prime Minister Binali Yıldırım. And that was the news brought to you by the Voice of Turkey.